college.
Nice.
I think that most people go into college because they think that that's what society wants them to do, and your job at 18 is to pick a major that you're gonna spend all this time studying, and then you may or may not use. Like, I think you'd be better off spending a year or 2 traveling and
Mhm.
then go to college. Or while you're in college, set yourself up for at least going on to a master's degree, but always creating some sort of thing at the end of it that you're gonna go and travel with. So maybe the best answer to that question really is go travel instead of going to college right away.
You think most people get wrong? Staying at home?
Yeah.
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 Staying in their
Yeah,
hometown?
that there you go.
Yeah. Well, wonder if my sister's going to listen to this.
What the hell's going on out here?
Welcome back to another episode. We're clapping together. Another episode of Fueled by Spite. As always, I'm your host, Dr. James Taylor. Today we have with us Dr. John Evan Giles. Why do you go by your middle name?
Ask my parents. I don't know, because my mom goes by her first name, my dad goes by his first name, and they named me and my older brother with my dad's first name. So my brother's first name is Samuel Benjamin Giles.
Okay.
After my dad. John was my grandfather. And I don't know. It's like a popular Southern thing to do.
It is. Like, I had never heard of it.
Yeah.
Until I came down here. It was up north. You have a middle name for historical purposes.
Yeah.
I don't know, tradition.
What is the point of a middle name?
Probably like just to honor those that came before you, but it's never used, or at least it wasn't until I moved down here. It was used to let you know that you were in trouble. But then, like, it was never in a, hi, my name is James Norman Taylor. I go by Norm. Why? Because.
Yeah.
Very well.
I get people, they're like, your first name is John? And I'm like,
Right.
it's not like it's Cornelius or something. Like, why is that so? And they're just like, why don't you go by that? I'm like, I don't know.
I don't know.
Really don't know.
But I've crossed that path a couple of times. Depending on what series in my life that you knew me. High school, it was Jim Taylor.
Okay.
College with rugby, it was Taylor. And then, into chiropractic, it's Dr. Taylor or James, because I'm an adult now.
Yeah.
But I mean, shoot, there were a good number of people in rugby in college that we'd known each other for a good year or two. And then my parents would be in town, lift your mic up. Parents would be in town and they'd be like, hey, Jim, or someone would be like, James. I'm like, I just thought your first name was Taylor. Like, so I feel your pain in a sense.
Well, you have 2 first names.
Yeah, that's fair.
You're one of those.
Never trust someone with 2 first names. What is your origin story? Speaking of your dad, in your best 2 to 4 minute version,
Oof.
How did you get here?
I was personal training in Jackson Hole.
Okay.
And I was hustling and getting clients and working, and I needed to level up. That's what as a chiropractor, you got to hustle to get your patients. You got to do your marketing. A lot of the same stuff that you're doing outside of the time with the actual patient or client is really similar. But as a chiropractor, I mean, we've seen how many people have you seen in an hour before?
Oh, shoot. My best hour was 62 people.
Yeah. So like best hour training, you can maybe get 20 people in a class, but then that's also broken down. You don't get as much time with them and stuff. So one-on-ones, you're spending an hour with a client. Maybe you get 2 on for an hour, but it was a way to level up. And I knew I could grow my knowledge. I knew I'd grow my skill set. I knew it'd give me like skills that could translate across the country and I could travel with and go different places with. So it seemed like an obvious choice. Plus, I had a friend in Jackson Hole who was a chiropractor that kind of talked me into it, showed me a lot about it, helped me understand what it was. So,
okay.
And then I went to Life University, scheduled a tour with them. They gave me a tour, and the enrollment coordinator sat down and interviewed me and was like, you got a college degree? And I was like, yeah. And she said, I think you're good. I think we'll go ahead and tell you you're accepted. I was like, oh, cool.
No way.
So I showed up to Life, and all my friends were talking about how they applied and they got all these acceptance letters and they were all excited. I was like, oh, I just thought it was like, sign up. Come on in.
I went in there, batted my eyes a little bit.
So
no, like you legit like just went there for a tour.
Yep.
You're like, hey, what are you doing in September?
Yeah. Like, how do I do this?
That's awesome.
They said, you will qualify for FAFSA too.
So, there's something about the cut of your gym that says that we can get some student loan money for you.
Exactly. Yes. Yes.
Oh man, That is perfect. Shit, if that isn't a bit of a microcosm for anyone even just associated with the profession.
Yeah, exactly, right? Yeah, yeah. It's fun that way.
Oh man, it is. It's interesting because I was just thinking about this the other day. That in some sense. So, how many how many people were in your graduating class? Do you recall?
No, because I was 2 quarters behind, so
Okay.
I didn't know many of the people in there. I think we had, like, I wanna say when we started, like, 180,
Okay.
and I wanna say they probably had 120 when they finished.
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
If you had to guess, how many do you think are still working as chiropractors? I should say.
I would say a lot are
Okay.
because it's only been 3 or 4 years.
That's
So they're
fair.
probably all still working some. I've seen some people's Facebook ads though where they're or not Facebook ads, but like Facebook posts where they've moved. It seems like they're some people are doing really well and some people are struggling, but I'd say all of them are still working.
That's fair. I would say. I mean, I've personally been not. Oddly enough, I don't know if you ever heard this morning. I have. It has been 10 years and 2 days
Yeah.
since I crossed the Red River. Zuckerberg told me that yesterday. um, but no, it's. I'm gonna venture. I'd say probably about a third. Again, according to what Zuckerberg tells me,
Mhm.
probably about a third of the people I graduated with aren't chiropractors today.
That's crazy to
Yeah.
me. It's like it's not like I got an undergrad degree in film and video. And when I
Hmm.
was leaving my undergrad and I was burned out on doing like film stuff, I kind of knew like, okay, I'm probably never going to really use this degree. But 4.5 years killing myself at chiropractic school and all the money I went in, I can't imagine not like going
Not
for it
seeing
after
it
this.
through.
Yeah, like good. Like, yeah, come on.
I mean, it is weird. Just the amount, just from a man. I don't know if it's necessarily a business standpoint or just a personal pride standpoint. I might have talked about this in previous episodes. Like the amount of people who go into something and like it's a commitment to finish chiropractic school, to take out all those student loans
Yeah.
or hell any graduate degree and not do that. Like it's one thing to go to undergrad and get your psychology degree
Hmm.
and not go to grad school and become a psychologist because
Hmm.
you don't realize that it takes a graduate degree to become a psychologist. I know plenty of psych majors who are waiting tables, but like to go through grad school and taking on all those loans and be like, I get my insurance license.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, I don't get
Nothing
it.
against insurance people.
But that's not what you went to school for,
Right.
right? Yeah, you went to school to adjust people, to be a chiropractor, to help them, and you knew what you were getting into with how much time, how much money. So
Right.
I almost, I guess I feel bad for those folks, but I mean, I don't know.
But I also don't.
Yeah, I mean,
To each their own. So interesting little tidbit in there. You said you've been in practice for how long?
3-ish years,
3-ish years. How old are you?
38.
Okay. So you were doing the personal training thing. You were, for all intents and purposes, on a career path of sorts,
Correct.
and you made a hard and expensive left turn to chiropractic.
Yeah.
You had to have some people go, "What the fuck? Why are you doing that?"
You know, I didn't. Everybody, yeah.
Really?
I mean, I think that most people kind of saw it as a logical next step for me once I kind of explained it the way that I do
Okay.
now, because I think most people saw it as, okay, Evan's doing really good as a personal trainer, but knowing that to be like, you know, financially free and financially secure as a personal trainer, you got to put hard time into being either like an Instagram influencer or you
Hard
got to
time. You make it sound like you're in prison.
it kind I
I did
mean,
hard time.
you gotta work for it, so,
True.
so I think once I started talking to people, they were like, "Yeah, chiropractor, you look like a chiropractor, Evan, you're already doing fitness stuff, it seems like a next logical step." I'm sure I had some people that were doubting along the way, but they weren't saying it to my face.
That's fair. Maybe sitting behind a keyboard or something like that. So like that, man, that really is surprising. Like, I wonder because everyone that I've interviewed so far, more or less has let's just started before you started and has stuck with their thing. And they've had stories of detractors.
Mhm.
I'm wondering if because you started later, if you're like, oh well, he's old enough that I trust his decision making. Like,
Yeah, maybe so. I think a lot of people knew that, like, I was sorta, like, stalling out. Like
Okay.
because the job I was doing before that was an office job. I was working.
Stalling out or maxing out?
I was stalling out. I
Okay.
think I had kind of burned out and was stalling out. Like I wasn't at the point that I could be helping more people. I could have more influence in their
Mhm.
lives. I could do more. I mean, as a personal trainer, I was seeing people with back pains and knee pains and neck pains, just like we do.
Right.
And I'd work them out, but I didn't have the knowledge that I have now to be able to say, like, this is what's really going on and this is what
Okay.
you really need. So I was just kind of stalling out. Like I knew how to help people get, yoked and how to lose weight and proper way to go and lift in the gym, but I
Mhm.
wasn't really helping them get to the source of like what was bothering them.
Interesting. Okay. So then throughout all this stuff, so you're engaged,
Mm-hmm.
right? What, did you meet her in chiropractic school? Did you meet her in Jackson
She
Hole?
was a client. So
Okay.
I was personal trainer. She was a client.
Yep. That's a fun stereotype.
And we just hit it off. We had great conversations when she came in, and then eventually just one thing turned into another.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. And so again, brought her then from Jackson Hole to Georgia?
Yeah. So she
was cool with that?
she was starting school in Georgia and so I didn't want us to be separated, and it was the perfect timing that I was already thinking about chiropractic. I grew up in Georgia where Life University's at.
Okay.
I used to see all the commercials for it. So I knew it was there. I assumed I would be able to get in. I knew I could move home.
Didn't know you'd literally just have to open the door.
Yeah, literally. I didn't know it was as easy as going on a tour. So
Man, that's still that blows my mind.
yeah.
I wonder if that like admissions counselor is still there. Hey, like let's say this thing goes viral and all of a sudden there's like, excuse me, Joan, want to come in the office real quick? Does this name ring a bell?
Well, hopefully it paid off for her.
I mean,
I seem to be doing okay.
Right.
I'm here with you on podcasts and stuff.
Right? That's how you know you made it.
Yeah.
Made it on the interview coach of Fueled by Spite.
Nice.
Here we are. Look at me, Mom. Can you share a time? Because it seems like whether certainly in the entrepreneurial space, because even if you're doing an office job or you're working in somebody else's gym, there's got to be a time when you've come across a situation where you've had two options. You either find a way or make a way.
I would say in chiropractic school, yeah. I would say that in general, my first like 2 quarters of chiropractic school were that mentality.
Okay.
My undergrad was in film and video. So it's lots of watching film and lots of writing papers and things. And so, and there's not really like a hardcore like timeline or work schedule or anything like that. You just get it done. But in chiropractic school, as you know, it's like drinking from a fire hydrant.
Yeah.
It was information. So like I never took chemistry in high school. I never took chemistry in college. And all of a sudden my first semester, I'm in biochemistry.
Okay. So you had to do the whole double major thing. You had to get some sort of undergraduate and some science degree along with your chiropractic. Oh, okay.
So I'm walking into chiropractic school with all these students that have just come out of like really good schools and they're doing pre-med or something like that, or they're biology majors and they're flying through this stuff. And I'm like, I don't know what the Krebs cycle is. I don't know what like microbiology is. So it was either just quit and go back and like let the overwhelm consume me and be afraid, or it was figure out what's the goal. I have to pass these tests. So I have to gain the knowledge, but I have to gain the knowledge enough to be able to pass the tests. So I hired tutors from the quarters before me who had taken the test with the professors to go over their study guides from the semester before to go through, here's what's on the test, here's what's on the test, here's what's on the test. And I hyper focused on the 20% that's going to get me the 80 on the test.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I figured out what I always like to say is I figured out how to hack it when my first 2 quarters was, how do I pass these tests? How do I get the assignments done? Not necessarily like, how do I gain all of this information in 2 quarters? Because it's so much that I couldn't process it. I couldn't keep up. Analysis paralysis. Where I couldn't figure out what do I need to be doing. And so eventually I just said, okay, the goal is pass the test, move on to the next test, pass the test, move on to the next test.
Interesting. Now, we've done the personality tests, and there's a stark divide between where my personality ends and yours begins, and just basically our view on the world. This is interesting because I mean we all face struggles. Like I struggled through embryology, mainly because I thought it was fucking pointless. I'm not going to adjust a fetus. But neither here nor there. But like what I did, like the option to hire a tutor was available. but I refused it. If it's gonna be, it's up to me. Did you ever have anything like that where you're like, well, shit, this is I need to get this in, so the next logical step is a tutor? Or was there any did your ego get in your way at all? Did your ego make you second guess?
No, not at all. Like I learned in school early on with like math, like I need to ask people for help. And that's why going into chiropractic school, like going into chiropractic, there were the people like asking me, well, what are you going to do about this? And what are you going to do about that? I don't know, but I know there's people that have done it, and I just need to find those people and duplicate what they've done, or ask them, what did they do that worked so well? So that's what I've just been doing throughout chiropractic, is like, whenever there's the next thing I got to figure out, like, okay, who are the people to ask? What do I do next? Not necessarily like, let me go spend all this time researching or studying on my own. Let me find out how to streamline it and go straight for the like most bang for my buck.
Fuck off. It took me 10 years to pick my head up and be like, hey, why don't you ask someone who's done this before?
Like, when did you go to school? How old were you when you went to school?
28.
Okay.
Right? Yeah, something like that. Well, I've been in practice 10 years. I'm 40. So, yeah. So I graduated when I was 30.
Okay. So you went back a little later in your 20s.
A little later. Yeah.
Yeah. You should have figured that out sooner.
You should. Appreciate it. All right. So find a way, make a way. So it just took me a little longer to find it. That's how, yeah, you should have. You're better than that. Okay. So a couple of just rapid fire questions, if you don't mind. Who's a person you would trade places with for a day aside from me?
Who's the quarterback that I just saw?
Oh, this must be a real popular person.
Pat Mahomes.
Oh, yeah.
I think it'd be pretty fun to be out on a football field, just being Pat Mahomes for 2 hours.
Yeah, I can argue with you there. His wife looks annoying as shit.
Yeah, on the field.
Fair enough. Okay, yeah.
As soon as the game's over
for a day. So I'm trading places with them. You're trading places with them on game day, not on Wednesday.
Yeah, definitely
not. Guilty pleasure.
Ice cream.
What kind?
Any kind.
straight up. Is there a Bluebell version in Georgia?
Yeah, Mayfield, but I don't eat that.
You don't eat Mayfield, or you don't eat Bluebell?
Either.
What kind of ice cream do you eat?
Ben and Jerry's, Ginny's, Halo, Talenti.
Jesus Christ, I've never heard this last three.
Haagen-Dazs.
Okay,
all the good. Anything in a small pint.
Bluebell comes in a small pint.
Yeah, but it also comes in a big pint.
It can only come.
Comes in a small pint.
So you're sizist.
No, I am. It's
okay. Worst advice you've ever gotten?
Oh, my dad one time. So I had a doctor's bill that I couldn't pay. My dad told me one time, "Oh, it's just a doctor's bill. Like, don't worry about it. It's not that big a deal." So I didn't pay it, and it went into collections, and that hurt my debt really bad. That hurt my credit really bad. And I called my dad. I was like, "What the hell? You told me?" Like, he's like, "No. You just pay like a couple of bucks a month. Like, just keep paying a little bit over a month, and nothing happens."
That's not what you said.
I'm like, that's not what you said, Dad. He's like, what happened? I'm like, well, it's in collections now. I'm like, what the hell? Why'd you let it get in collections? Because you told me.
Something you wish you were better at.
Speaking on camera. You do such a good, since I've been here, you do such a great job just nailing these YouTube videos. And I'm like, damn, why can't I just nail them that quick? So
I like the sound of my own voice. Best compliment you've ever got?
Whenever a patient tells me they feel better from an adjustment, I mean, that's what keeps me going doing this. So it's like the exact opposite of when they make the loud noise and you're like, oh my God, did I hurt them? But then they get up and they're like, oh my God, I feel so great. And I'm like, yeah, okay.
Of course you do.
Yeah, I know what I'm doing. Yeah.
What's an idea that you think most people get wrong?
College. I think that most people go into college because they think that that's what society wants them to do, and your job at 18 is to pick a major that you're going to spend all this time studying, and then you may or may not use. Like, I think you'd be better off spending a year or two traveling and then go to college. Or while you're in college, set yourself up for at least going on to a master's degree, but always creating some sort of thing at the end of it that you're going to go and travel with. So maybe the best answer to that question really is go travel instead of going to college right away.
You think most people get wrong? Staying at home?
Yeah.
Staying in their hometown?
There you go.
Yeah. Well, wonder if my sister's going to listen to this.
I hope so.
I don't know. She lived a mile from the house we grew up in. I mean, I hope you're happy. It's not for me. Let's see here. What's one question you wish I'd have asked you?
What's my last meal?
What's your last meal?
Ice cream.
Of course. That's awesome. What are you reading right now?
I'm reading What to Expect When You're Expecting because this is gonna air in a couple weeks, right?
No, it's gonna air Thursday.
Oh shit.
Next Thursday.
Next Thursday. Okay, we can do it by then. Yeah. I'm reading What to Expect While You're Expecting on Audible while I'm driving home in the evenings. And then other than that, when I'm not listening to that, I'll just put on Post Malone and cruise along.
J. Evan Giles, appreciate it. Literally filling in because somebody had get this. The podcast guest that we're supposed to have canceled because he had a migraine.
Oh.
What?
And you can talk him into coming in and get adjusted, and maybe it wasn't that good.
Maybe next time.
Yeah.
So, as always, again, everybody, appreciate your time. Like, share, follow. I'm telling you, you will literally learn more here by accident than elsewhere by design. And in the grand scheme of things, you got to remember, you're only two things. You're either an idiot or you're uninformed. And after listening to this, you can at least say that you are no longer uninformed. It's a James Taylor original. Do you know
Nice,
that?
I like that.
Yeah, came with all by myself. No influence of anyone else. Appreciate it. Take it easy, guys.
Thanks, Zach.